So I've been using the Astro A50X headset and I've wanted to give my honest long-term review on them to see if they're really worth that hefty price point of $400. Astros were popularized in the gaming scene through many sponsorships with gaming teams like FaZe Clan or Optic, and in 2017 they were acquired by Logitech. And in 2025, the competition within the headphone scene has grew more and more, kind of wiping out the popularity of the Astros brand as a whole. And so in this video today, I wanted to see if these still hold up in 2025, if they are still worth the hefty price point. But before we get into our long-term review of these Astros, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, keysfan.com. This is the perfect place to come to if you need any activation keys at a major discount. They offer codes for Microsoft Office programs, Windows activation keys such as Windows 10 or Windows 11, and if you're a Mac user, you can get activation keys for programs like SwiftDo PDF, Mac Booster, AD Guard, and Drive Booster. You can use my code RLA62 for 62% off any Microsoft Office programs, or RLA50 for 50% off any Windows activation keys. You can mix and match and make bundles to get additional savings. And what's great is that all of these keys are original and OEM, and they have a lifetime activation. If you want to check them out, there will be a link in the description below. So first, let's talk about the specs. The A50X is a wireless gaming headset that connects wirelessly to the charging dock. It is compatible with PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And with a press of a single button, you can switch between all of those platforms simultaneously. It has Logitech's Lightspeed technology, which is a super low latency connection. The speakers have 30mm drivers, which supports Dolby Atmos and sonic spatial audio. The battery life can last 24 hours on a single charge. Mobile microphone, which in this version is always on. The previous A50s automatically mute when you flip it up. Now I can go on and on about these specs and the features, but what is it actually like to use? All you have to do is just take it off the dock and plop it on your head and you're good to go. Very similar to the concept of AirPods. The convenience factor is absolutely mint with these comfortable mesh ear cups. They are quite breathable, so if you have a sweaty head, you don't have to worry about it sticking to your face or anything like that. And what's great is that you can actually swap these ear cups out if you want something like a leather one that Astro offers. The mounting platform is just magnets, so you can just pop it off and pop on a new one. And there are pros and cons with both the mesh material and also the leather one. The leather material is going to be a little softer, a little bit more comfortable, but it's not going to offer that sort of breathability that a mesh material would. Another feature that I love is that you can fold the headphones flat, so if you're not using it and you want it to rest on your neck, it won't be so bulky. This headset offers a lot of adjustability, so whatever head size you have, it'll always fit on there comfortably. On top of that, it doesn't really have too much springing motion over here, so if you plop it on your head, it's not really squeezing or being too tight. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the sound quality. You are paying nearly $400 for these headphones, so they better be good. When doing various tasks like gaming, listening to music, or consuming content, it does sound really crisp. The mids and the highs are super clean, there's no static, it doesn't jitter or anything like that, but I will say it does lack a little bit in the low ends. The bass is not very heavy. The overall audio graph of this headphone is very neutral. It's not like a Beats headphone where the bass is just tuned up crazy. Everything is very even and very balanced, and that could be a good thing and also a bad thing. When it comes to gaming, which is the focus of this headset, the bass isn't necessarily too important. And oftentimes if you tune up the bass, it does make everything else kind of muddy. So with it being not very bass heavy, it allows you to hear the ambiance of the scene a lot better. You can hear all of your enemy footsteps when you're in the game, and you really feel immersed into the environment. And if you're someone who listens to a lot of music, this is where that sort of flat frequency could be a little bit of a problem. It doesn't sound terrible, but it does sound really flat. If you listen to a lot of hip hop where there's a lot of beats, a lot of heavy oomph to it, you're not gonna really feel that satisfaction compared to other music-focused headphones. Now, sure, you can always fine-tune the frequencies yourself, but even so, there are limitations to what the drivers can handle. Now, I also want to take a step back and talk about the ear cups that come on here as standard. This is the mesh material, which is very breathable and very airy. And with these ear cups, you are gonna get a lot of sound leaks. So if there is someone next to you or someone around you, they can hear pretty much everything that you're hearing. If you wanna have a conversation with someone, you can actually do so because you can hear beyond what's outside of here. That is where the leather ones are a little bit better because there's more restriction, more noise canceling, if you will, but there's no electronic system assisting you like an adaptive or an active noise cancellation. Now, in the grand scheme of things, with this being a gaming headphone, when you're probably gonna be at just a setup, it doesn't really matter if the sound is leaking out. It's not like these are a headphone you take outside, but I feel like for the price point of close to $400, you would expect a little bit more up-to-date technology with that. Now, when it comes to the microphone itself, it sounds pretty standard. It's not studio quality or anything spectacular, but if you're doing Zoom calls or if you're talking with your friends on Discord, it is definitely sufficient. Lastly, I want to talk about the longevity. After using it for 2 years, I gotta say they held up extremely well. There's no dents or scratches on it, but because I did get the white version, there is some discoloration, especially on the edges of the headset. You can see that it's turning yellow, and it's not like it's dirty or anything. If you try to wipe it off, it doesn't come out. It's kind of more of a staining effect, you know, probably from the oils of your hands, maybe the oils from your face or your ear is kind of rubbing onto it. And I have a lot of white colored peripherals that doesn't have that issue. Like my mouse and keyboard, they're white, and it's something that I'm physically touching every day, getting my finger oils on it, but it still stays white. So I don't know if that has something to do with the coating that's applied on the headphones, if it's not, you know, good enough, that it's wearing out. Sometimes plastics can turn yellow over time, especially if there's a lot of UV rays, but my room is always dark, the sun's not blazing on it, and so for it to discolor so quickly definitely is something to keep in mind. Now, Astro does offer other colors of the headphones, which I don't think would really have this issue, but for the white version itself, it is starting to discolor. In terms of the battery degradation, it's pretty much still like new. I can still get that close to 24 hours of battery life. I don't even put my headphones on the dock to charge every day. I only charge maybe once a week, and then I just let the headphones sit on my desk all week long. So battery life is mint, the audio hasn't degraded, and overall the headphones just really held up extremely well besides the color shifting. Now, there was a problem that I've seen in a lot of forums and reviews saying that these Astro A50s have a lot of problems with the connectivity. Personally, I've never encountered any of that. You know, every time I put the headphones on, they connect instantly and it never loses the connectivity. But that's also because the dock in correlation to the headphones is only about 2 to 3 feet away. But if you are someone that is a console gamer, or, you know, someone who's using it with a TV where there is a substantial amount of distance, that might affect the, you know, connectivity with the Bluetooth. So to conclude my review, I give this headset about an 8 out of 10. It's very versatile, it's very comfortable, the sound quality is pretty good, but you also have to keep in mind that this headphone is designed for a very specific purpose, and that is gaming. The ability to switch between different platforms like Xbox, PC, or PlayStation is very convenient, but if you're gonna be using it for anything else, either watching content, you know, listening to music, I suggest getting something else. So with that being said, that is my long-term review on the Astro A50X. I still use it till this day, and I have no other complaints with it. I think it's absolutely amazing. So if you are in the market looking for an Astro A50X, or even anything in the Astro lineup, I'd definitely give you the recommendation to do so. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.